Now, let us understand about the atmospheric pressure. The envelope of air around us also exerts pressure. Air is fluid. It will exert pressure at a point in the similar manner as a liquid column does. The atmospheric pressure at a point is equal to the weight of column of an air of unit cross-sectional area extending from that point to the top of atmosphere. If we take a column having unit cross-sectional area, that is 1 meter square, it is filled with air. So from this point extending up to an infinity, the pressure exerted by this air column is called atmospheric pressure, and its value is, as we have seen, 1.013 into 10 power 5 Pascal. But how we have found this value? The scientist Torricelli did an experiment. So let us understand the Torricelli's experiment for the measurement of atmospheric pressure. He used a simple instrument called mercury barometer. A long glass tube closed at one end is filled with mercury. It is completely filled. It is inverted over a trough containing mercury. The mercury in the tube slides down till it becomes stable at a level. Initially, this mercury was filled completely, but when we have inverted it in a trough full of mercury, the level falls down through the tube. Now, up to what height it will fall down? When the pressure inside and outside at the same level becomes same, this whole system will be in equilibrium. So in this case, we can say pressure at C and pressure at B are same. Pressure at C is due to atmosphere and pressure at B is due to this mercury column. Here, as the mercury was initially filled completely, there will not be any air in this empty portion, but there will be vacuum. So pressure of this vacuum part will be 0. So pressure at B will be only due to the pressure of this mercury column. If we find the length or height of this mercury column above the level of trough, that will be 76 centimeter. So we can write pressure at C is equals to pressure at B, and that is equals to atmospheric pressure PA. Pressure at B is pressure at point A plus rho GH, but pressure at point A, due to vacuum, it is 0. So pressure at B will be rho GH. So pressure of atmosphere will be rho GH. Here rho is the density of mercury, G is gravitational acceleration, and H is height of mercury. It is given 76 centimeter. Now, even in this case, if we tilt this tube slightly, we have tilted this tube slightly, then length of the liquid column will change. Maybe it is increased, but this height will remain 76 centimeter only. So the height will not change whether you have kept it vertically or you have kept it tilted. Now, why Torricelli has taken mercury only? Why not any other liquid? The mercury have the very high density. The pressure of atmosphere is very large. If density is very large, then the height of the column required will be less. But if we have taken a liquid having lower density, then height required for the column would have been very large. That means we would have been required a very long glass tube. That's why the Torricelli has taken the mercury, a high density liquid. Now, Let us understand an open tube manometer. The open tube manometer is used for measuring pressure differences or to measure pressure of a gas enclosed in a vessel. For example, here a gas is enclosed in this vessel and we want to measure its atmosphere, its pressure. This manometer consists of a U-shaped U-tube open at both the ends. This is a U-shaped tube. It is open at both the ends. A liquid of density rho is filled in the tube. One end is left open to atmosphere and the other end is connected to the system whose pressure is to be measured. Now, due to the pressure exerted by the enclosed sample, we have enclosed a gas in this container, so pressure is exerted by this, and pressure is also exerted by atmosphere. Due to this two pressure, initially this liquid will move further up and down, and after some time it will become stable. It will be at equilibrium. At equilibrium, the pressure at these 2 points will be same. So we can write pressure at A is equals to pressure at B at equilibrium. Pressure at A is due to this unknown gas. So pressure at A is pressure of gas, that is equal to pressure at B is atmospheric pressure plus the pressure due to this liquid column. So density of liquid into G into height H. If we want to find the gauge pressure, then P minus P atmospheric is equals to rho G H. To measure small pressure differences, we use low density liquids like oil in a manometer tube, whereas to measure large pressure difference, we use high density liquids as mercury. So for low pressure difference, low density liquids are used, and for high pressure difference, high density liquids are used, because the length of manometer is fixed. If we choose low density liquids for high pressure difference, then this liquid may spill out. Now let us see one example based on the manometer. A manometer tube contains a liquid of density 3 into 10 power 3 kg per meter cube. When the liquid level in the other arm of the tube is higher by 10 centimeters. Now when it is connected to other sample of gas, the liquid level in the other arm of manometer tube falls 7 centimeters below the liquid level in first arm. Now we want to find that which of the two samples exert more pressure. For sample 1, the liquid level in other arm is more than the first arm by 10 centimeters, and in the second case the liquid level in second arm falls 7 centimeters below the liquid level in first arm. So for the first case, we can write P1 is equals to P atmospheric plus rho G H1. So P1 is equals to P atmospheric plus rho G into 10 centimeters. Now in the second case, there is only atmospheric acting over here, so we can write that P atmospheric at this point is equals to P2 plus pressure at these 2 points will be same. At this point pressure will be P2 plus density into G into height 7. So P2 will be P atmospheric minus rho G7. So if we compare this, P2 is P atmosphere minus 7 rho G and P1 is P atmosphere plus 10 rho G. So clearly P1 is greater than P2. Let us see another example. The volume of an air bubble is doubled as it rises from bottom of lake to its surface. The atmospheric pressure is 75 cm of Hg. The ratio of rho Hg and rho W, that is density of mercury and density of water, is 40/3. We want to find the depth of the lake. Let us assume the depth of the lake is H. Here at the bottom, if volume is V, then at the top surface the volume becomes 2V. Let's say pressure at this point is P1 and pressure at this point is P2. Here the volume is increased as the pressure is decreased. The temperature remains constant, so it is the isothermal process. So it is isothermal situation, so we can write P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2. The pressure at point 1 will be due to atmospheric pressure as well as due to the depth of this water. So P1 is P atmospheric plus rho GH, here rho is the density of water, is equals to P2, that is only P atmospheric, into V2, that is 2V. This V will get cancelled out. So P atmospheric plus density of water into G into H is equals to 2 times P atmospheric pressure. So density of water into G into H is equals to P atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure at a point is given 75 centimeter of mercury. So density of water into G into H is equals to, this will be density of Hg into G into 75 into 10 power minus 2. This G will get cancelled out. Height will be, density of Hg upon density of water is given 40/3 into 75 into 10 power minus 2. This will be 25. So H will be equal to 1000 into 10 power minus 2. So H will be equal to 10 meter. So the depth of the lake will be equal to 10 meters. In this example, a barometer tube reads 75 centimeter of Hg. If tube is gradually inclined at an angle theta with horizontal, find the length of mercury in barometer tube. The barometer construction is like this. When it is kept vertically, then the length of barometer is found to be 75 centimeter. Now it is tilted gradually such that it makes an angle of 30 degree with horizontal. We want to find the length of the mercury in barometer. Here, as we have seen in Torricelli experiment, this height will not change. This height will be 75 centimeter only. So if we apply the trigonometry, sine 30 will be equal to h upon L. So sine 30 is 1 by 2 is equals to h by L. So L will be equal to 2h. So length of mercury column will be double, that is equals to 75 into 2. So L will be 150 centimeter. Here the key concept is this height will remain same. Now let us find the variation of atmospheric pressure with an altitude at constant temperature. Considering a small mass dm and thickness dy at a height y from the surface of Earth, in equilibrium condition, P plus dp into A will be equal to dm plus dm into G is equals to P into A. Here it is the P plus dP, that is variation in pressure in downward direction. PA is the force due to pressure in upward direction, and dm into G is the gravitational force in downward direction. For equilibrium, the net force should be 0. So we can write dP into A plus A dy into rho G is equals to 0. Mass is written as density into volume, and volume can be written as area into length, and this is density. Rho is the density of air. From this we can write dP upon dy is equals to minus rho G, that is pressure change with respect to position change from ground is equals to minus rho G. Now from this we can say that pressure decreases with height. Now for air density, rho is not uniform. As we move upwards, the density will decrease. From ideal gas equation, we can write P is equals to rho RT by M. Given PV is equals to nRT, that is equals to M by M into RT. Simplifying this, we'll get P is equals to rho RT upon M. From this, we can write rho is equals to PM upon RT. So d rho will be equal to minus rho G dy. dP is equals to minus rho G dy from this equation. Density can be written as PM upon RT into G into dy. Now integrating both the side, we will get integration dP. At the bottom point pressure is P0, so P0 to P is equals to, this P will be in differentiation division, is equals to minus mg upon RT will be constant, integration dy, limits will be from 0 to y. Integration of 1 by P will be natural logarithm ln P, limits from P0 to P is equals to minus mg RT into y. So ln P upon P0 is equals to minus mg y upon RT. Taking anti-log on both the side, we will get P is equals to P0 e power minus mg y upon RT. So we can say that pressure decreases exponentially with height, because as y increases, this exponent term will increase in denominator because the power is minus, so the pressure will decrease exponentially. Now let us see one example or application of Pascal's law. The Pascal's law said that the pressure applied on confined fluid at rest is transmitted equally and undiminished in all the directions. The one very practical application of this Pascal's law is the hydraulic lift. The hydraulic lift is used to lift heavy objects like cars by application of small ones. It is mostly used in garages when we want to service the car. It consists of a liquid confined in a large vessel provided with two frictionless marble. One piston C1 has a smaller area of cross section A1 and the other has larger area of cross section A2. Now we are applying force at the smaller portion F1. Due to this force, pressure is created at this point. Let's say pressure at 1 is P1, that is equals to F1 upon A1. This pressure is transmitted undiminished at point 2. So P2 will be same as P1 and P2 is given by F2 upon A2. Comparing these two, we can write F1 upon A1 is equals to F2 upon A2. We have applied force F1. We want to find with what force this car will be lifted. So F2 will be equal to F1 into A2 divided by A1. Here it is given that A2 is greater than A1. That means we are multiplying F1 with a larger value than 1. So F2 will be greater than F1. So on the small application of force at point 1, we will get the large application at point 2. This is called mechanical advantage of the device. Hence, by applying a small force at narrow piston, we can support a greater force at the wider piston. Now, let us see one example based on the hydraulic lift. In an arrangement similar to hydraulic lift, the diameters of smaller piston is 1 cm and diameter of larger piston is 3 cm. We want to find the force exerted on larger piston given the force on smaller piston is 10 Newton. Here we can use the Pascal's law, according to which P1 will be equal to P2. So F1 upon A1